Hey guys, MJ Madness here, and the NFL season is right around the corner. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you my NFL season preview. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is going division by division and breaking down each and every NFL team and giving you my predictions for the standings. Finally, at the end of the video, I'm going to be giving you my picks for all of the end of season NFL awards and my predictions for the Super Bowl. So, without further ado, let's get into the preview. Starting things off in the AFC, up first we have the AFC West. Coming in fourth in this division, I'm going with the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I don't think the Chargers will be as bad as everybody thinks. They lost a lot of really close games last season. Joey Bosa is somebody I'm a huge fan of, but they're simply not good enough to surpass any of the three teams above them in this division. Coming in third, I'm going with the Denver Broncos. Now, the Broncos still have one of the best defenses in football that won them the Super Bowl only 2 years ago. Von Miller is still an absolute animal, but I simply don't trust their offense, and I don't think their starting quarterback is good enough for them to make the playoffs this season. Coming in second and snagging a wild card spot, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are a very good football team. Exceptional at nothing, but good all around, and I definitely think they'll have enough to snag a wild card spot in the AFC. And coming in first, one of the most fun teams in football, the Oakland Raiders. Last year, Derek Carr cemented himself as a legitimate superstar, and watching Marshawn Lynch come back to that high-powered offense should be very exciting, and I think the Raiders have enough to be the first-place team in the AFC West. Up next, we have the AFC North. Coming in fourth in this division, I'm going with the Cleveland Browns. The Browns had quite possibly the strongest draft out of all the NFL teams, and they also made some interesting moves this offseason, the most notable bringing in Terrell Pryor. Still, I don't think the Browns are ready to compete just quite yet, but they definitely are heading in the right direction. In third place, I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals lost two of their best offensive linemen this offseason, Andrew Whitworth and Kevin Zeitler, and while Bengals fans will point out that last season was just an anomaly, I think the Bengals finally have fallen off the rails, and I definitely predict some hard years to come for the Cincinnati Bengals. In second place, I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are an average football team who could compete for the wild card spot, but they're dealing with a lot of injuries, so I don't think it's going to be enough for them to make the wild card this season. And in first place, the clear-cut favorites in the AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're simply a step above all the other three teams in their division, and they definitely have a shot to go to the Super Bowl, with star players like Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown. Moving on, we have the AFC South. Coming in fourth, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like the Jaguars' young talent. I think Jalen Ramsey and Leonard Fournette could be superstars in this league, but Blake Bortles simply isn't the answer at quarterback, and until they upgrade him, they're not a playoff team. In third, I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Colts would be a team that could contend for the wild card. The only problem is Andrew Luck is injured, and without him, the Colts really don't have anybody else that could lift them to a playoff spot. Coming in second and snagging a wild card spot, I am going with the Houston Texans. Now, I still really don't trust their quarterback situation, but their defense is simply so good, and in a weaker AFC, I think they have what it takes to snag the second wild card spot. And in first, and returning to the playoffs for the first time since 2008, I am going with the Tennessee Titans. This is one of my bolder predictions, but I really like this Titans team. They have an awesome offensive line, Marcus Mariota is the real deal, and I think the Titans have what it takes to win a weaker division and return to the playoffs. And finally, we have the AFC East. Coming in fourth, I'm going with the New York Jets. The Jets seem to be actively tanking and have almost no talent on their roster. And for the record, the Jets are my pick to be the worst team in the NFL this season. In third place, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills shook up their front office and made some moves, but I still don't think they're anything better than a mediocre football team. In second, I'm going with the Miami Dolphins. Last year, the Dolphins really turned it on at the end of the season and managed to snag a wild card spot. And this year, I think they would be contenders to do the same, if not for Ryan Tannehill being injured for the entire season. They've turned to Jay Cutler, and I think he's too old for the team to go anywhere and make the playoffs again. And in first place, the clear-cut team that is better than all the others, the New England Patriots. They are on another level, and I predict another season of them dominating their competition in the AFC East. So, looking at the standings, I have the New England Patriots and Oakland Raiders in first and second place respectively, and getting a bye for the first round of the playoffs. In third, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. In fourth, I have the Tennessee Titans. I'm predicting the Kansas City Chiefs will snag the first wild card, and I'm giving the second wild card spot to the Houston Texans. Moving on over to the NFC, up first we have the NFC West. In fourth place, I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, despite having a strong draft, the 49ers are still a mess of a football team, and I predict they'll be among the league's worst. In third, I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams. This team is very average and boring, and I don't think they'll sniff a playoff spot. In second place, I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals. I think people are really underrating the Arizona Cardinals, and they still have a lot of talent, but I think they'll just fall short of taking a wild card spot. And in first place, I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. They made some significant upgrades this offseason, and I think they'll remain at the top of the NFC West. Moving on, we have the NFC North, and in fourth place, I'm going with the Chicago Bears. The Bears are a bad football team, and I see them being one of the league's worst. In third place, I'm going with the Detroit Lions. Now, I know the Lions were a playoff team last season, and they haven't lost anything significant, but they won so many close games, and I expect that luck to run out, and I'm expecting some regression from the Detroit Lions this season. In second place, I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are solid, and I think they have an outside shot at the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be able to get it done. And in first place, I'm going with the Green Bay Packers. I still believe the Green Bay Packers are a mediocre football team, but with the second best quarterback in the NFL, he takes them to another level, and they should be able to easily win the NFC North. Next up, we have what is, in my opinion, the toughest division in football, the NFC South. In fourth place, I'm going with the New Orleans Saints. Now, don't sleep on the Saints. They made a huge splash this offseason, bringing in Adrian Peterson, as well as adding some very talented rookies at the draft. Couple this with the third best quarterback in the NFL, and you know they'll be good. And all of that, having them in fourth in the division, just shows how competitive the division really is. In third place, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, one of the best young teams in football. Mike Evans, Jameis Winston, they have so many great young players, but I don't think they're quite ready yet to make the playoffs. In second place, and snagging a wild card, I'm going with the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Panthers were last place in this division last season, but I think they'll come back, and I'm predicting a significant jump for them, and I think they'll snag the wild card spot with some solid rookies, plus a return to form from Cam Newton and Luke Kuechly. And in first place, the reigning NFC champions, the Atlanta Falcons. They still have the pieces that led them to the Super Bowl last season, plus they made some even more additions this offseason, so I think if anything, they'll be even better, and they should be the favorite to end up first in this division. And finally, we have the NFC East, a very competitive division, and another one where I think all four teams have a shot at the playoffs. In fourth place, I'm going with the Washington Redskins. Now, the Redskins aren't a bad football team, just underwhelming, and that's not going to cut it in a loaded NFC. In third place, and my boldest take of this video, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. And yes, I believe that the first place team in the NFC last season is going to miss the playoffs. Ezekiel Elliott is suspended for the first 6 games of the season. I think Dak Prescott is going to regress heavily, and the Cowboys simply won't have what it takes in a very strong division. In second place and snagging a wildcard spot, another bold prediction, I think the Philadelphia Eagles make the playoffs. Carson Wentz looks to be the real deal to me. They have some very strong rookies, they made some great moves this offseason, and I think they'll take that next step and barely snag a wild card spot. And in first place, I'm going with the New York Giants. Now, this division definitely is up in the air, but the Giants look like the best football team to me, and I think they should have what it takes to win the NFC East. So looking at the standings, I have the Falcons in first place and the Seahawks in second, both getting that first round bye. In third place, I have the Green Bay Packers. In fourth place, I have the New York Giants. Taking up the first wildcard spot, I have the Carolina Panthers, and I have the Philadelphia Eagles sneaking into the second wildcard spot. Now, let's get into my award predictions. I'm giving Coach of the Year to Jack Del Rio of the Oakland Raiders. I think the Raiders will have an awesome season, and Jack Del Rio will be a huge part of that. I'm giving Comeback Player of the Year to J.J. Watt. He only played 3 games last season because of injuries, and I think he'll come back and have a monster season. And I'm also giving J.J. Watt Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year, I'm giving to David Johnson of the Arizona Cardinals. I think he is the most talented running back in the NFL, and he should get a lot of touches, so I'm expecting him to break out for another huge season and win Offensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm giving to another running back. I think this one's going to go to Christian McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers. He's looked incredible in preseason, and I think he's going to be a huge part in getting the Panthers back to the playoffs. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm giving it to Derek Barnett of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's another guy who's looked great in preseason, and while he may be a bit of a surprise pick, I think he definitely will be a huge part in the Eagles getting back to the playoffs. And finally, for the Most Valuable Player award, I am giving this to Derek Carr of the Oakland Raiders. Once again, I told you earlier, I think the Raiders are going to have an incredible season, and with Derek Carr leading the charge, I think he will win MVP. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, my Super Bowl prediction. Coming out of the AFC, I'm going with the New England Patriots. I think they're far and away the best all-around team in the AFC, and they should have no trouble making it back to their second straight Super Bowl. The NFC is more wide open, and there's definitely several teams that I see having a chance at making the Super Bowl, but I'm going to give it to the Green Bay Packers, setting up what would be an incredible matchup between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, the two best quarterbacks in the NFL. But I give the edge to the New England Patriots because they have a better all-around team, meaning I am predicting that the New England Patriots will be your 2018 Super Bowl champions. That's going to do it for this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for NFL coverage all season long, and also let me know some of your predictions for next season down in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and take care.